Hello and welcome to Celebrating You. And I'm very, very grateful today to have Ros Thompson with us. A very warm welcome to you, Ros.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. Lovely to be.
It's my great pleasure, Ros, to have you and to find out about flower essence remedies and more about yourself. Tell me, how did you get into what you do?
Long story. Wind the clock back 20 years. Yes, probably 20 years. We moved from Brighton to Chichester area, moved down to Bracklesham, and my daughter was 8 at the time. I just married my husband, my second husband, and had a full-time job working as selling office services and furniture, printed stationery, really in the corporate world. High intensity, lots to do, all sorts of things that I wanted to do. What I did want more than anything, I wanted something to lessen the stress levels and give myself something else to think about other than bringing up my daughter and focusing on husband and life at home and then work. I thought I need a hobby. So I looked at the college and I found a pottery class. And I thought, well, yeah, let's go and give it a go. So off I trotted, evening classes, ceramic pottery. So got there, lots of arty people. And I really have to say, I thought, I don't know, this is for me. So, but we tried. A lump of clay was put down in front of me and he says, right, now just make what you want to make. Do what you want to do. See what you get, see how you get on. And around me, people are making cups and saucers and beautiful teapots and all sorts of things, and they're playing on a wheel. And it's as much as I can do to make a vase and kind of decorate it and put it in the kiln and let it come up. And okay, that was over a period of weeks. I was there a term, and at the end of the term I had produced a vase that didn't stand up straight and it leaked and it really didn't look very good. And the lecturer said, how long is it since you used the creative side of your brain? Well, I didn't realise at that time that there was a creative side and anything else on the other side, for that matter. And I said, well, probably not since I was at school, which was longer ago than I cared to think about. Well, maybe you should possibly consider going to do something else. At which point I thought, well, okay, other than telling me I'm useless, which was probably about half of the course, thank you very much. And I never went back. So I looked again for something else. I decided, well, if I can't do anything arty, I better try and do something practical and I better try and do something good. And I opened up this prospectus from the local college and turned to the page that was reflexology and Indian head massage. So in 1 year, I did a course in reflexology and Indian head massage, which was absolutely amazing. I was very, very fortunate enough to be able to meet and to study with one of the first Indian head massage lecturers in the UK back in 2000. She and I are still friends, and she's been a guiding mentor most of my life. Well, I don't think she realises that. The reflexology led me to look further at what I wanted to do, and things kind of happened about in a very strange way. When we moved to Bracklesham, I had always wanted my daughter to have a pony, and we were very fortunate as much as we lived down in the countryside and we found a riding stable that she was able then to go to and enjoy the company of a pony, bless him dear Moonbeam, who we loaned for a period of time and then subsequently bought. Through the stables, I also met some very spiritual people and holistically minded people. And while I was doing my reflexology, I had the pleasure of meeting a lady who was a Reiki Master. And I went to her and she became part of my working and practice schedule for my reflexology. She was one of my case studies. And over a period of about 9 weeks, we had some fairly concentrated practice time together and some case study time together. And I experienced some very spiritual things with her. Yeah, I mean, I can tell you, because I'm not going to tell you who she is. That's not going to be a problem. But I can remember treating her one day, and it was within the first sector of the foot that you learn, and you study the feet in 3 sections. So we'd done the bit about the toes and the top part of the foot. And I was sitting there massaging this lady's foot in the correct technique, and she's lying on the couch and I'm sitting at her feet. And all of a sudden she started to cough. And I thought, okay, are you all right? And I went to say to her, would you like a glass of water? And I realised that her eyes were closed. Okay. And she started to cough again. And then from nowhere, she spoke in a man's voice, which, had I not been sitting down, I would probably have fallen down. And she basically told me with this voice that I would be good at what I do. It was very inspiring, etc., etc. So I carried on doing her feet. And I would have to tell you that what I saw on her feet in that time that the man's voice was coming out of her mouth was totally different to what was there when it was her normally. Anyway, she coughed again after a period of about 20 minutes. Her voice went back to normal, and she said to me, oh dear. She said, I think we've had a visitor in the room. I said, well, let's put it this way. I said, your spirit guide has certainly been standing over you, if not inside you. Now, it put the wind at me, but I was very accepting of what had happened, quite understood it, and went with it. And I began to realise that there was an awful lot more to what was going on in the holistic side of life, and a lot more that I wanted to study. So I subsequently, with her, did my Reiki 1. I was her first student. There were 3 of us. We did our Reiki 1s together with her. I went away. I did my 21 days thought and practice after that. That was quite life-changing and quite remarkable. Then went back and I did my Reiki 2. Again, incredibly interesting. All the time I'd got the reflexology was going, and all the time I was doing the Indian head massage, practicing on people. I passed both of the courses, passed my Reiki courses as well. But in amongst all of that, I became very open-minded. We had, in the background, life was going on as normal. My daughter was at school in the village. That was quite traumatic for her. So she was having some Reiki as well, because village life wasn't quite the same as life was when we were living in Brighton. So she was quite traumatized by the move. But gradually things came together for us. The pony really helped her. The pony was a feisty little monkey. He was 20 when we first had him, and that was back in 1997. Lots and lots of injuries, incredibly energetic and very enthusiastic. So we had a bit of a problem in as much as he would run down the field. When he was let out, let loose in the morning, he would take off going down the field. So I had to do something about it, because one day he took off my daughter's foot and quite seriously damaged her foot. I went back to the yard and I was talking to people about what could I do. And they said, well, go and see this lady in the village. I went to see a lovely lady by the name of Pat Onions. I haven't seen her for many years. I don't even know if she's still around. But she made up some Bach Flower Remedies. And she gave me what I use now, a little brown bottle with a blend of essences in it. Having had a chat and a conversation about Moonbeam and what he was like, she gave me one of these. And she said, go away, give him a few drops of this on a carrot or a piece of apple, first thing in the morning and then again in the evening, and then we see how we go. Well, I gave him this for 3 days, and in 3 days he stopped. So after 3 days, I was able to lead him out into the field, take his head collar off without him running away. And he never did it again, and he died 17 years later. So for 3 years we had a lunatic, and for 17 years, thanks to these little remedies, we had a beautiful pony.
I was going to say, because I was going to ask, I've heard that ponies are quite challenging little animals. I don't know much about horses, but I've heard that horses are different to ponies. But
Yeah.
I'm glad that you said that. I was going to ask, how was the pony? So that's extraordinary. That's
Yes.
complete
Yeah, it was. Total.
and
Yeah.
behavioural change.
Yeah, it was one particular habit, the habit of running away.
Okay.
We put it down to fear of open spaces. He had a field that backed onto East Head at Bracklesham. So his field, basically, there was nothing between his field and the beach and the sea. So there was nothing around it. And he was just frightened of open spaces. He was also frightened of the head collar. And with that, and also looking a little bit at his character, because he was incredibly feisty. And he was still feisty after the remedies, but at least he was controllable with his feistiness. It didn't change his character, it just changed his habits and made him slightly safer. So I knew that the remedies worked. I didn't need much persuasion. I tried them, I used them to help me with my work. My daughter had them, they helped her. I then went and did an introductory course into the remedies. I did a level 1 introductory course, which I really loved. And again, looking at the remedies, looking at the Reiki, I could use the Reiki and the remedies together. I could use the reflexology and the remedies together, and the Indian head massage, because people come to you with problems and you can give the remedies as well. I then went and visited Dr. Batch's cottage in Oxfordshire, which is a beautiful cottage, and I did my level 2. And I again had a whale of a time. I had 3 days there doing my level 2 back in 2003. Thoroughly enjoyed myself, lots and lots of work to do. Left my husband alone at home with my daughter, and just, yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it. Came back and thought, okay, now what do I do? I'm still working, by the way, full time with the office services work. I liked it, but I always wanted to do the holistic therapies full time. That was always in the back of my mind. My husband was doing the same job as myself, and he was selling furniture. We worked for the same company, which was great because we weren't seeing the same clients. I don't know, I just always had this need to want to help people, want to talk to people, want to get to know people, want to care for people, and want to be able to do something to relieve the stresses and angst and questions and thoughts that I'd gone through in my own mind in my past life. So we kind of moved on a bit with this. I thought, time to start and think about going totally self-employed. Put everything in place. I did another course then in kinesiology as well. That took 2 years. So then I had another tool in my trade. So I had 4 or 5 different things that I wanted to do that I could offer.
Can I ask, did you do Touch for Health?
I did.
I've done that.
Yes.
It's amazing,
yes.
isn't it?
Yes, I did that with a lovely lady called Les Graham.
Okay.
Yes,
I think I've heard of her.
Yes, that was in Littlehampton. We did Angren Village Hall. We did that. It was jolly cold in there, but no, Les is around still doing kinesiology. So we did that, and I thought, okay, let's start and think about it. As I was thinking about doing it, my husband was made redundant. So take a step back, have a rethink. 2 people, self-employed, mortgage to pay, not going to happen really. So I stuck to the day job, and I stuck with this one particular company doing office management services, gradually expanding my knowledge, getting more and more stressed by the minute. And I stayed with them until March 2010. March 2010, sadly, my father was very poorly with dementia. And I was still doing 2 jobs. I was still doing the office management services and then coming home and seeing clients in the evening. I only would see possibly 3 or 4 in a week rather, because I couldn't do any more than that. But Dad was ill in 2010, and in 2010 I decided that I couldn't carry on with the day job and look after my dad, which I needed to do, because my mother wasn't able to do it because my father had to go into a home and I needed to concentrate on that. And that was all very traumatic. Asked them for a sabbatical, and sadly that wasn't forthcoming. So I decided that actually my time was up and time to move on. Took 6 months off. So I left in March. Dad died in the July, and by the time we'd sorted everything out and I had a memorial service for him in the September, I decided it was time to go back to work. Went back to work doing exactly the same job, but working for a company that was much, much smaller, much, much more easygoing, and it was very much like the company that I first started working for. I'd worked for my first company from the time it was only 30 staff when I first started there. When I left, there were over 1,000. So big wasn't beautiful. When I started with my current employer, there were 20 of us. There are still probably now only 40 of us, but it's a small team. It's a family-run business. It's very understanding. It's a lovely company. So winding the clock a little bit further forward from 2010, came out of the scenario as far as my dad was concerned. And I thought, I need to do something a little bit more. And as luck would have it, there was an advertisement in one of the holistic therapy magazines that I get about studying Bach Flower Remedies and becoming a practitioner. And I thought that was the answer to my prayers. It was also something that I could then afford. When I'd been given the opportunity to do it before, I couldn't afford to do it. So this time round I could. So I took myself off in 2013 and did a very intensive 3-day course in Bach Flower practitioner work. I don't think I've ever worked so hard in my life, because by that time I was late 50s, and I really found studying quite hard. I don't mind admitting it. I find learning quite difficult unless I like it. But studying all the different parts and different pieces and things you needed to know for the remedies, and also the counselling skills and everything that you had to go through, was actually quite tough. We then sat a 3-hour exam at the end of the 3 days, which was tough. And we had 9 months of case studies, working, paperwork back, reports back, criticisms, critiques, etc., before I got the green light to go. Once I got the green light to go, that was it. I was gone. I loved it. I could do what I wanted. I could use the remedies, I could practice, I could talk to people, I could counsel people, I could work with people, and I could help. And I've just loved it. To me, Bach Flower Remedies they're the answer to most people's prayers, but I just wish more people knew about them. The blend of, these wonderful remedies, there's 38 in total, and I can blend 7 specific remedies to suit people's problems. So I have the ability, along with every other Bach Flower practitioner in the world, and we are all around the world, to be able to help bereavement, grief, sadness, loneliness, fear, panic, shock, trauma, anything you like. The remedies have the ability to help. They don't change the situation, but they change the way you feel about the situation at the time. So they change the way you react. So they're there to help you.
How,
And for me,
Sorry, yeah, how do they work? How do flower essences
Energy level,
actually do that?
like homeopathy. They're done in very, very small quantities. You literally have 4 drops of a tincture. I mean, tell you about the base tincture. There is a base tincture to every flower remedy. And the base tinctures are produced at Wallingford in Oxfordshire. They are then put in dark brown bottles and transported to Nelson's in Wimbledon, where they put them into the bottled format. See here, that's an older bottle. Let me show you a new one. There's the new style bottle there. That's pine. So they then put them into the new style bottles, and these are the bottles we work from. The tinctures are preserved in alcohol. And then I take 4 drops from each of these tincture bottles and put them into the brown bottle, blend up to 7 remedies together, fill the bottle with distilled water, give them to the client at the end of the counselling session. The client goes away. They take the drops. They take 4 drops a day, 4 drops 4 times a day, and they may or may not see a result. Most people will see a result. It won't change the way life is, but it will change the way they view life. I have a client who's I've recently treated. She hadn't slept for 20 years. She took the remedies for 2 days and slept for 10 hours. Another new client in the last fortnight is suffering from night terrors and restless legs. She's had 4 nights decent sleep. And that's just on the sleep side. I've treated people who are scared of flying and just a natural fear of flying. Because being afraid of flying and afraid of being up in the sky is quite complicated. It's not just flying. It's you're shut in a cabin with lots of other people. You're not in control. You could be claustrophobic. You may not like being out of control. And all of those are remedies that I can put in here to help them. People take the remedies before they go away. Not that anybody's going anywhere at the moment, but it goes from there. One particular client came to me, one of my first clients came to me, talked to me about the fact that she didn't like flying. When she flew, it made her feel sick. And being made to feel sick reminded her of a trauma that happened to her when she was 10, when she was abused. 6 months later, she left me saying, "Thank you for giving me the rest of my life back." Now, that feeling is a feeling that I can't replicate. I can't put that in a bottle. I can't explain it, but it's what keeps me going. So, yes, every day I like to be able to help people. And if people want the help is there to be had. Right now, I'm trying to do work with the NHS to help nursing staff who are catering in this horrific time that they're going through within hospitals, to ease the pain, the angst, the terror, the possible PTSD results that could come from what they're seeing in hospitals. I was listening to somebody on the television the other day talking about it, nurse, and I've got some links now coming in from people that want some help, just to try and alleviate the nightmares and stop their brain going round at night with what they're seeing. So it is really a case of, yes, a constant desire to want to help people.
I can see why you're so passionate about it now.
Mm.
That's really, really explained it to me. That's absolutely miraculous. Those results are outstanding. I mean, to the lay person, they may ask, how can a flower essence or 10 or 7 or whatever relieve me from an anxiety I've had all my life, for example? And sometimes these questions We don't need to know how. We just need to know it just works. So would you rather be free?
Trust me.
Would you rather have your life back? Would you rather have a pony that behaves itself so that your daughter can ride him? Or would you rather have a naughty pony? It's all a choice. But what this is really empowering, and it's very educational to just hear from you these experiences.
I can help with dogs. Done work with dogs. Afraid of fireworks. Without sedation. Yes, okay. The vets all tell things. And I'm not knocking what they do. Sometimes it's a lot more than that. I mean, a friend of mine, she adopted a dog from Romania. When the dog walked round the car park, or a car park, at any point in time after it came back, he wanted to run away because he was frightened of being in the car, because the car was a bad experience coming back from Romania in the car. He had some remedies. Goes in the car as easy as anything since the remedies. So it's not just humans, it's animals, it's children. And I often think with children and with animals, if there is a display and evidence that they work, then that should give people the confidence to realise that there is no placebo effect. It isn't mind over matter, that I can now sleep whereas I couldn't sleep before. The cynic will always think that, but that's fine, each to their own. I'm only speaking as I find, and speaking as I've found through the work that I do, that they work. I've taken them, they've worked for me, they've helped me through getting over some pretty traumatic times in my life. I really don't want to go into the ins and outs of my past, but it's been pretty horrific at times. I had a very violent marriage, first marriage, and I need something to bring me through that and help me get over that. And when I found the remedies, I knew that I found something that could then help me to overcome that and help my daughter as well. So she's had the remedies on and off throughout her life. Most of my family have. My mother did. My father didn't. My father was a scientist, and sadly, while I was studying this, he was too ill to be able to have them. So yeah, but the remedies themselves, I think I want to shout from the top of a mountain that they're there to help, and if I can, I would love to help anybody. I class them as the best kept secret in the holistic world. People have heard of Reiki, reflexology, Indian head, massage, but Bach Flower Remedies need to be out there a little bit more.
That's extraordinary. And you know, my aunt in Chile is a practitioner.
Oh God, right.
Yeah. So yeah, it's you'll be surprised how far and wide the subtlety. I just what's really comforting hearing from you is that you're not just a Bach Flower Remedy therapist, but actually what I can see and experience is that your counselling skills are very, very good. Very, very good. Because I came on the call and you very, very generously asked me about me. You know, obviously this isn't about me, it's about you, but I just felt really held and I just really felt the compassion and my being and my soul just felt really, really safe. So you have a very kindful, compassionate, very healing energy yourself, which obviously helps. And you've got your reflexology, Indian head massage, which is amazing. I love, 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 love that. And you've got your Reiki and the Wafla and of course life experience. So I really acknowledge and recognize that you've just got a really great symphony of, oh, and Touch for Health kinesiology, which I've got too. I love that. I love that. It's really, that's a real secret, isn't it?
Yeah,
That's a well kept secret. And
that's a message that's hard to convey as well.
yeah.
How can you explain that one to the layperson? It's very difficult.
Yeah. Thing is, though, I mean, as a fellow healer and practitioner, I just conclude it's like you say. Do you need to know if it works and why it works and how it works, or do you just want to be less stressed out? Do you just want to sleep? Do you just want to feel better about yourself? It's the choice, right?
I mean, right now, I'm very, very fortunate. I consider myself incredibly fortunate. Yes, I've been furloughed from my day job, but being furloughed has given me the opportunity to do what I'm doing now and to work on progressing with the holistic side of my life. I really missed my day job when I was first furloughed, desperately missed it. I'd never not worked at that job for 33 years. And I'd never not done it. I'd never gone away, left my mobile phone at home. I'd always taken it with me on holiday. I'd always answered my emails for work while I was away. I'd often spoken to clients while I was on holiday. Always done it. And all of a sudden, furloughed on the 1st of April. On the 2nd of April, what on earth was I going to do? On the 2nd of April, I cleaned the bathroom. I can remember that vividly. But it was the following Monday morning, and it was like, okay, and now what are you going to do? So I suddenly thought the only time I'm going to get to be able to kick this off the ground is now. By being able to market myself and market the business that I do properly, I need to develop that, and I need to develop it now while I've got the time, without treading on anybody's toes work-wise, because I'm not supposed to be working, and it takes me away from the thoughts of my clients and the angst that I know that they're going through. And it keeps me occupied and out of mischief, because I'm no good sitting around with nothing to do. When we go back to work, will I carry on with the day job? Yes, I probably will, because I love my job and I love my clients. But I will only do the 3 days a week that I was doing, and I will then have the good groundings and work do with the Bach Flower Remedies that I've built up. MNC has been wonderful for me, because they've really, really inspired me to be able to do what I need, and I've met some fantastic people through MNC. And as for Zoom calls, all I can say is, bring it on. I love them.
So tell everybody what MNC stands for.
Mumpreneurs Networking.
Okay.
And it's just the most amazing thing I think I've ever done.
Wow.
Through being furloughed and through the Zoom calls that we've had with all the mumpreneurs meetings and being able to jump on and meet other people, I have met so many different people from so many different lines of work, all of whom have a commonality, because we're all struggling in some way. Some are managing to do very well out of it because they've been able to continue to work, but some are really struggling. Hands-on therapists are struggling because they can't work. And I've just been totally inspired by everything I've seen from mumpreneurs, and I just, long may it rain is all I can say. So there we go. That's how I met you, of course.
And of course, that's how we met. I absolutely second that. I think that Nikki and Sarah and all the managers and all the people are just an outstanding community. I have found it life-changing too, actually.
Yeah. But I do believe, bizarrely, that it's more life-changing now because we've got Zoom. Because the calls are so intense, the group meetings, the networking meetings are quite intense, but you can't run away from everybody in this. And it's really nice, because if you want to meet somebody and talk to somebody, you can do it as easy as anything. So it's really, really lovely, and it's bringing people together, and I think creating bonds and relationships that after this calms down, as and when it ever does, the bonds will be there forever. So yes, as sad as coronavirus is, and as difficult as it is, and as traumatic as it is for so many people, and don't get me wrong, I'm not belittling what is going on in the moment in the big wide world. I know my bosses and my company are struggling. It's difficult, it's traumatic, it's horrible. Some people's business is completely gone, finances have gone, but there are also some stories out there that are just amazing because people are coming through it. But we'll get through it. We've been through worse, and we'll get there again. So, yeah, lovely.
I really appreciate, because it's very rare that I meet somebody who really loves intense intimacy like you do. Like, I love it. That's why I love just really being with someone. I could happily just do eye gazing for 10 minutes and just, you know the ones where you just do it till you cry. And I really appreciate that with the Zoom, and with the grace of being able to do work on Zoom, which we're so blessed to do. It creates, like you were saying, like if you're in a cafe, you can just look around or go to the loo, or split and leave that connection. But here we are, very, very, very intensely connected, and it's creating, and actually I think birthing a completely new kind of relationship.
Oh yes, I mean, you and I've been talking for however long it is, an hour or whatever it is in total, and neither of us have fidgeted or thought we were going to get up and move or do anything. It's just because that's the way Zoom is. So, I mean, I've done Zoom quizzes every Saturday night since we started lockdown. It's like, hang on a minute, do I want to be on Zoom all day, every day, and then again on a Saturday night? But yes, because it's fun.
Have you heard the joke? There's an elephant in the Zoom.
Yes, I have. Yes.
I love that. So tell me and everybody watching how we can get in touch with you. Do you have a website or a Facebook page?
I have a Facebook page, which is Ros Thompson, Bach Flower Practitioner. I have a website called Aspen Crest, ASPENCREST. That is for the animal therapies. And there is a website for my own Bach Flower Remedies being put together as we speak. That should be out within the next couple of weeks. Another Mumpreneurs member is putting that together for me. My Facebook page has all been rebranded. So yes, that's me. I'm there, and all the contact details are there.
Super. And do you have some kind of consulting process, or can I book a call with you, and then do we have maybe a free chat before somebody wishes to proceed with you? Some kind of onboarding, they call it, don't they? I think.
Yes. Yeah. No. We can. People can contact me by my mobile. They can message me. Whatever they like. We can do consultations by Zoom. We can do consultations with a phone call. I've actually done consultations by Messenger, believe it or not.
That's amazing.
People who are really lacking in confidence and not sure where to start. But yes, we do eventually get to the phone. But I've done 3 consultations by Zoom. You have to be a bit careful with that, because if people are unsure, a bit anxious, sometimes Zoom can build up anxiety levels too much. So yes,
good point.
Whichever way you want.
Great. I mean, I assumed that, but I wanted to double check. And I'm a musician performer, so I would like to guarantee that I take Rescue Remedy if and when I ever get stage fright. And it's a funny thing, stage fright. It's such a funny thing, because I'm not a nervous person. I've got confidence, and I never normally get it, but sometimes on a few rare occasions, and it's been for no reason. It might have been just like an insignificant pub open mic, and I can't remember the chords, and I can't remember any words, and it all just goes blah blah blah. Incredible, isn't it?
And the Rescue Remedy can be a great leveler and sort that out for you.
And there's my little bottle in my case. So I really do encourage people to give it a go, and and contact you, Ros. And it's just been a real relaxing, healing, really enjoyable and very gracious experience sharing with you today.
Having me. Thank you for asking me to do it. It's been great.
My pleasure. Thank you so much, and we'll see you again soon.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you.